I promised you that I would show you how to build a search strategy and conduct a literature search. So that's what we are going to do today. So you may have your computer before you and you follow the steps so that you may also be able to build your search strategy. So why do you need to build your search strategy? You need to build your search strategy because if you do not do that, you're likely to get irrelevant literature. You're likely to miss out on some key literature because you're not going to use all the key terms. You're not going to use all the synonyms of the key terms. So building a search strategy allows you to utilize all the available key terms and synonyms so that you're able to get the relevant literature. You also want to get less literature. When you have a search strategy which is not very specific, you're going to get a lot of results in your search, and these may be very tedious to go through all of them. So you want your search to just bring you a handful of relevant papers. So that's what we are going to demonstrate today. First of all, before you start the process, you have to write down your plan. So what are we going to do? So one, we are going to formulate a research question. Then we are going to orient ourselves. And then we are going to identify key terms and synonyms. Then we shall use those key terms and synonyms to build a search criteria. And then a search strategy. And then we shall use that search strategy to conduct a literature search, and that's what we are going to do right now. So here I'm going to use a search criteria called PICO to formulate my research question. Okay, so what PICO does is it allows you to identify key terms, and PICO the P stands for population, patient or problem, the I stands for intervention, and the C stands for comparison group, the O stands for outcome. In my case, I have a population, and those are children with acute lymphoblastic leukemia. I don't have an intervention group because I'm using an observational study. I also don't have a comparison group. I could have easily had one, and those could be normal children who don't have acute lymphoblastic leukemia, but in this case, I'm not going to have one. Then I could also use the outcome, that is the O, and in my case, it's obesity. So formulating my research question using that criteria will be something like magnitude of obesity in children with acute lymphoblastic leukemia. So that is the research question that I've formulated using the PICO criteria. So once you have formulated your research question, then you go to the next step, which is to orient yourself. So there are two ways you could have a narrow, wide approach where you start with the specific research question and you broaden, or you could do the funnel, where you start with the broad key terms, then you narrow down until you get to the specific research question, and that's what I'm going to use. So here I'm going to start with my key terms. So in the problem, in the population, the key terms there are acute lymphoblastic leukemia. So if I'm going to start with the journal, I'll just Google leukemia. Okay, you can use any search engine you want. So when you Google leukemia, you're going to get some websites that are giving you overview information on leukemia. Those are the best sites to go to. WHO is one of the best sites to go to as well to get general knowledge on any, if it's a science, if it's a health related topic. Okay, but then there are also websites that actually are dedicated to some diseases, like cancer has a website, diabetes has a website, and all that. So you can go there and you get some good information. So I have gotten information on leukemia, then I'll do obesity as well. That's my other key term. Then I will get some information on obesity. It's the same thing. Still, there are websites on obesity. You can go to WHO as well and you get some good information on the website. So what do you look for when you're when you're orienting yourself? You look for the key terms that are used when describing the topic or the disease. So you will see that when you're in leukemia, when you're reading an article of leukemia, you can select maybe like what WHO has here, or like cancer.gov, and you pick out the definition of leukemia, because in the definition oftentimes key synonyms are used that are easier to understand by some people. Okay, so for instance, leukemia, they may use blood cancer as they're defining leukemia, so that is a synonym. So you pick that. Then obesity as well, when they're defining obesity, they often use words like BMI, body mass index, what have you. So those are synonyms. So the good synonyms are found in the definitions of the key terms you're looking at. But as you read on, you can also find other synonyms also. And then you can also look at the tags in the websites. Usually at the tags, they also put synonyms of those to help people who are doing the searches. So once you've identified the key terms and some synonyms, you can also go directly look for the synonyms on Google. So for instance, I can Google leukemia synonyms. Okay, so let me Google leukemia synonyms, and I will get, okay, there is the thesaurus.com. okay, it's a dictionary that gives you synonyms. So there are a number of synonyms here that I'm seeing. There is cancer of the blood, there is leukemias with an S, and then there is leukemia without the S. There is leukemia with a C, there is leukemia with a K. Okay, all those are synonyms. And what else do we have here? And a number of those. So you can do the same for obesity. So I'm going to do the same for obesity. So again, I'm going to search obesity synonyms. Okay, here we go. And then again, the same thesaurus, pardon the pronunciation. Okay, I'm from Africa, so but you'll find a number of synonyms there: fatness, plumpness, stoutness, overweight, okay, and a number of others. So you note down those synonyms. There may be about 10, 15. So same as leukemia, you also note down the synonyms. So once you've noted down the synonyms, then you are ready to conduct your search, okay, to actually build your search strategy. So how do you build your search strategy? So we're going to go to PubMed. So in this video, I'm going to use PubMed and Google Scholar. So you go to PubMed. PubMed is free, just like Google Scholar. It's a database that you can use to get research articles, mostly health-related research articles. But Google Scholar has more articles that are not simply medical related. You can also get other disciplines as well. When you open up your PubMed, you should have something like this. And right here where you see the cursor, there is advanced. Okay, so we are going to click on advanced. And then when you click on advanced, you get this kind of like landing page. So it has all fields, it has enter search. Okay, then when you come to the bottom here, you will see mesh, MEsh. So we are going to click on mesh. So when we click on mesh, what we are trying to do is we want to find out the official terminologies of some of the key terms that we have gotten. As you saw, we had so many synonyms, but does PubMed have all those synonyms? It's unlikely. Probably PubMed only has one of those synonyms. So we want to identify which one that is. So when you go to your mesh, there is a search here where you can search. So I am a bit aware of the official leukemia terminology that PubMed uses with a K, so I'm not going to search all the synonyms. But if you weren't sure, you probably would go ahead and search all the synonyms, and you see if PubMed does have all of them. So leukemia is there, and even the definition is there. So what you do, once you've seen the official terminology for leukemia, that is also called a mesh term, You then send it to the search builder. Okay, right here at the, you can see where I'm pointing the cursor towards the right of the page, there is add to search builder. So I click on it and it adds it to the search builder with quotation marks and also the mesh in the square brackets. So you copy this and put it in a Word document. This is going to be like your search builder documentation. So you have to document this whole process. Okay, so the idea is that as you are getting your search terms, you are putting them in a Word document. So that is your search builder document. And you save it somewhere. I'm going to save mine on the desktop. Okay, so I paste my mesh term. They are called mesh terms. Those are the official terms that I usually use to index articles and make it easier to search the article. I'll do the same for obesity. Again, I'm aware that the official term there is obesity, so I'm not going to search all the other synonyms, but if you are not sure, then you have to search all the other synonyms as well, because you might find other mesh terms for that same term. So again, obesity, that's the official mesh term in PubMed. So I'm going to again add it to the search builder. Again, it comes with the quotation, double quotations, and the square brackets with the word mesh in it. That makes PubMed recognize it while doing the search. So again, I'm going to copy this onto my search document. Okay, so now I'm done identifying my mesh terms. So if I have a third term that I want to use, for instance, you may want to add children as well, or child, into your if you want to make your search strategy even more refined, so that it only gets the things that you want, you can add children as well, or child, and see what official terminology is used by PubMed. So I'm going to add, let me do child as well. So there is child, you could do childhood. I'll do childhood instead of child, because I think a lot of them are childhood cancers. So PubMed doesn't have a mesh term for childhood, so I'll just go with child. You could also do pediatric. So I add that mesh term as well. So I'm adding child right now. Then I'm also copying it into my documentation. So you can add as many terms that you want. Okay, and you can do pediatric, you can do treatment. There is so much, depending on what your study focus or scope is, you can add as many such terms that you. So once we have gotten our search terms, we also listed down our synonyms. So we are now going to go back to the advanced search of PubMed and start building our search strategy. So this is the second last stage. So again, you go to advanced, and then you'll see a search box where you enter a search term, and it allows you to add what we are calling Boolean operators. So Boolean operators, these are joining words that join key terms together and make like a concept. So the common Boolean terms are and, or, and not. We talked about these in the last video. I mentioned a bit about them. So those are the ones that we use to build the search strategy. So usually you start with the mesh term. So I'm going to start with the mesh term, which I documented here. I documented my mesh terms. So you're going to build components of the search strategy. So each mesh term or each terminology is a component of the search strategy. So you first have to do one component at a time, and then you combine all the components using and, which is also a Boolean terminology. So let me do this. So now I copy my mesh term from the Word document, then I paste it here, and you can see this next to the field, to the search field, there is a drop down that asks you whether you want to use the AND Boolean operator or the or the NOT. So I'm going to go with OR. Okay, then it starts the building. Then you add all your other synonyms and you keep adding the O. So the other synonym for leukemia was leukemias with an S, then I do O, and then the other was leukemia with a C, then I do O. Then you add all your search all your synonyms for the term. Then you copy that whole it's called a component, that whole search component, okay, and then you paste it in your document. So I'm going to call this component 1, and I'm going to paste it. Okay, then I get my other search term, I get my other key term, and this is now obesity. I'll go through the same. I'll copy, then I will add my synonyms. Okay, so I can add BMI, high BMI. Okay, that's a synonym. Fatness, we saw a number of them. We saw fatness, so I can add fatness. Okay, and any other that you have. Overweight. Okay, then you copy again this component and then paste it here. So you write component 2 and then you paste it here. So you can do this for all the other components. So once you have gotten your components 1, 2, 3, usually 4, 5, those are too many components. You may want to do a few components. The more components you have, the smaller the number of results that you'll get, and the likely that you might miss out some significant articles. So you want to limit the number of components. So once you have built, you have your 4 components, we are going to combine these components with AND. Okay, so I'm going to copy component 1 and go back to my PubMed search, and then I will add AND, okay, which is a Boolean operator. Then I pick the second component, copy it, then I paste it again in this field, the search field. Then if I have a third, okay, I again go to my documentation, copy it, paste it in the search field, and add it there with the AND Boolean operator. So once I have my my 3 components combined, that is a search strategy. Okay, and then I do my search. So you can see I've created a search strategy with all the synonyms of the key terms that we got from our research question that we were able to formulate using the PICO criteria. So you look at your results, okay, and then you copy the links and then you paste them still in this documentation, and you can call this search strategy 1. Search strategy 1. Okay, so like I told you, sometimes you may have very many key terms and you don't want to put all the key terms in the search strategy, so you may just select the first 3. You get the first 2 which are pertinent, then you add another one like child, and then you can remove child and add treatment. So now that would be a second search strategy. Or you can put minus not adult, okay, Still, you can put not. We told you not is also a Boolean operator, and when you put not, it will remove all the articles that have the word adult in it. So not is different from child. With child, it only brings those that have child, but with not, it removes anything that has adult, because you don't want adult. So that would be a second search strategy, and a third. So you can have as many search strategies. A search strategy is composed of search components that you will have built, search criteria components based on the key terms and the synonyms, using the or Boolean operator. Then the search strategy combines those components using the and Boolean operator. Okay, and then you copy your links, the relevant links, and you put them in your documentation. So that is how you conduct a literature search, and this process is usually the cornerstone of conducting a good literature review. If you don't do this process very well, you are likely to miss out some really important literature that would have given you a very good study. Thank you so much. If you've liked this video, please subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you get more videos like this. In the next video, I'm going to demonstrate quickly how to do an article summary and also write a literature report. After you have gotten your search criteria, after you have done your search and gotten your relevant literature, then the next step is to summarize the literature and write a report. So I look forward to that. Bye-bye.